Cool, man. So I know who you are. You're, like I said, your reputation precedes you, but our audience may not know who you are. So why don't you just start by telling us who the hell are you and what do you do in this whole music world of Minnesota?
Well, if anybody does know me, cheers, thank you. But my name is Will Maravelas. I'm a Taurus. I like long walks on the beach. No, I am a musician, is what I always tell people. That's what I do. That's
your dating app was going really good.
It was going really good. Yeah.
So you said musician, and then she just walked the other way. So.
Yeah. I don't need that right now. It's okay. I'm taken care of. It's good. But anyway, my name is Will Maravelas. I am the owner engineer of 1459 Studios here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm also a active musician in the area, region, country, whatever you want to say. I play in a couple bands, Caustic Abyss, death metal band, and Plague of Stars, female fronted, whatever the heck we are, metal, Chalice of Suffering, doom metal band, Insect Death, grindcore band. Just, I play music, I record music, I do music, I barely sleep. It's awesome. So that's the very, very abridged story of the last, 35 years of my life. So
awesome, man. So are you Minnesota born and bred?
I'm not. I'm from Wisconsin. Don't hold that against me. I moved here when I was 23. So a while, we'll say.
Which part of Wisconsin? Are you from small town Wisconsin or a bigger city or what?
I have a unique upbringing in the sense that I grew up in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and La Crosse is about as close to Minnesota as you can be while still being in Wisconsin. It's just, I grew up in a house 4 blocks off of the Mississippi River, so, I could... If I spit hard enough, I could hit Minnesota,
Yeah, La Crosse is a cool little city. I've been there a couple times.
It is. It's a really creative city, too. Very, when I was growing up, it was very welcoming to musicians based on some venues that were there. There was an all ages nightclub that closed a couple of years ago, but it was, was open for 30 years, which is pretty unheard of for an all ages, no alcohol music club. That place was pretty important to my upbringing and that kind of thing. So that just kind of got me into music, gave me something to do on Friday, Saturday nights that, was better for me than the other activities I was pursuing at the time. Just absolutely love music and played in bands, learned how to record in that city at a studio called Actual Sound Studios.
Okay. I started a studio there initially.
I interned at a studio there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there was a Mike is so humble, but Mike Von Muchow he's a Grammy-winning recording engineer that lives in La Crosse, and he let me get coffee for him for a few years and taught me how to record, and I'm still super close with him. I still see him regularly. He's still a great friend and a great mentor. Whenever I'm struggling with anything musically, he's a really good person to bounce ideas off of and that kind of thing. But he gave a 17-year-old kid a chance, and I just kept recording and kept doing it and moved up here, worked at a studio called Bimanic Studios for a little while, broke off from that, started my own studio with a friend of mine, which was 1459, and that's been open now for 16, 17 years at this point. We're on our third and final location. I will not be moving. I got quite a long lease there, and it's built out the way I want it, and I'm just going to keep doing it. So awesome, man. Yeah.
So 1459, were you 14 and your partner was 59 when you created it, or what's the story behind that?
So everybody assumes it has something to do with military because of the whole 1459 from like a military time aspect. It has nothing to do with military. So when we started the studio, the whole goal of it was to basically record our own bands, make our own music, and buy a bunch of gear on the backs of the government and be a tax dodge. That was the whole point. It was just to be like, we're going to do this business. It's going to fail. We're going to buy all this equipment. We're going to write it all off in the meantime. And all of a sudden we're going to be able to depreciate all this gear. And all of a sudden we own it all, and that whole idea cause that's the honest truth. Yeah.
That's very well thought out.
Yeah. It was super well thought out.
IRS, if you're watching this.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because we're legal and I pay taxes. It's fine. The intent is well past there's a statute of limitations there that's long gone by now now, I'm sure. But we started the studio kind of as a way to do our own music and record our own music. The kind of joke was, who's going to want to record with us? We're just a bunch of yutzes who just like to, make music and be loud and, bang our heads against the wall and, do metal and punk rock and that kind of thing. And we found out fairly quickly there was a need for it. And we're like, well, we better come up with a name here really quick. And my business partner Zach, I've since bought him out. He's got family now. He's awesome. He still rents from me. He's a really close friend. His band recorded with me 2 weeks ago. So even though he's no longer involved in the business, we remain quite close. But I will credit him where credit is due, and that is he named the studio, and he said, the whole goal is to get you 15 minutes of fame. We're not going to get you there, but we're going to get you real close. So it was 1459 was the joke, so that's where it came from.
That's a great story.
Yeah, it was from that silly phrase, it's 1459 Studios. So
that's a great story.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we went legal pretty quickly because we found out that punk rock and metal people liked recording with us, and if you're a rock player or a blues player or even a country player, it's like, I'll record if your music doesn't suck. So don't feel like you can't record with me if you're not a metal or punk rock person. I've done anything with a guitar in it. So, if it's got a guitar, I'll probably like it, quite honestly. I'm not
but
just a metal.
You do draw the line, and you're not doing hip hop or the other things that don't quite fit into that.
I don't, and it has nothing to do with not respecting that art form. It's like, I love hip hop, It's like, I grew up in the 90s, man. I love me some Snoop Dogg and some Dr. Dre and all that gangster rap. It's awesome. But honestly, it just doesn't interest me as a musician. And
Sure.
It has nothing to do with not appreciating it in any form. It's just, when you're recording rap music, you're hitting play and you're listening to the person rap over it. There's not a whole lot creatively that I can do to participate or help with at that point. And I'm not really interested in making music that I can't be a part of to some degree, where I can't help with that process or help with the creative, the creative elements of things going on or whatever it may be. And that's just kind of a limiting reality of hip hop music. If you're not the person who made the track, or you're not the person who's doing the vocals, there's not really a lot left to do as an engineer. So, yeah. And there's a lot of other great studios that do that. So by all means,
Right on.
if you're a live band, which I've recorded a lot of live bands with hip hop, like vocals, I've done quite a few of those, but, I do that more traditional band thing,
Sort of setup. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
Exactly.
All right. So you've told me, and I know it's out there, that you're quite into gear. You're quite a gear nut.
I'm a total gear snob, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So why? What got you into that?
I think it was that whole thing growing up in lacrosse, and growing up in lacrosse, there's a beautiful world famous guitar store called Dave's Guitar Shop. And I'm not exaggerating that. That's a real statement, and I would call it a factual statement as far as a world famous. He is the largest Paul Reed Smith independent dealer in the country, I believe. He's either number 1 or number 2. He's the biggest independent Gibson dealer in the country, number 1 or number 2. He's one of the biggest Fender dealers in the country. He has a personal collection that is like its own museum, and it's upstairs in the store. So if you're ever traveling through lacrosse and you just like guitars, just go there. You can literally walk and see his personal collection, and there's $1 million guitars on the wall just for people to look at.
Wow.
He sold guitars to everybody from, Eric Clapton, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, John Mayer. I went to the store one day and Mark Tremonti from Creed and Alter Bridge was just there, looking at guitars. So it's a crazy, crazy thing. So
interesting. So if you're in the upper Midwest, it's kind of a place to stop.
It is, yeah. And he's got 4 stores across Wisconsin, and he sells most of his gear out the back door, meaning like he ships it worldwide. His vintage collection is insane, just insane. When he built his new wing, I think he said he sold like 2 of his vintage guitars to pay for the entire wing. It just was just nuts. But that really got me into gear, because as a 11-year-old kid walking into a music store, I thought the norm was you could just walk in and play guitars. And that's how I grew up. It wasn't that way. in other music stores. Like I'm not gonna be mean, but as a mid-20s, I walked into some stores here in the city, and I kind of got the side eye because I look like a dirtball. I'm long haired, I'm covered in tattoos, and it's I look like a rock guy, and people would look at me like, oh, that guy doesn't have any money, and go, screw you, man. I own like 10 Paul Reed Smith guitars. Those are expensive. I'd love to spend money at the store, but apparently you don't want it. So, but that's not the way Dave's was. Dave's was rule number one is, pick it up, play it, have fun. Rule number two is be respectful. And didn't matter how old you are or what your level of player was. It's just that place was all about just be a musician, learn how to be a player, and do your thing. And I learned respect for gear that way, and I learned what was good and why things were good and why things cost what they cost and all that. So you just kind of become a little bit of a nerd. Why is this one $500? Why is this one $1,500? They look the same. That whole thing. So that got me into my kind of gear nerddom was growing up there.
All right. So why does a guitar cost $1 million?
So collectability is the big thing. So if there's $1 million guitar out there, it's because there's a collector willing to pay $1 million for it. There's no guitar that
plays that much
better. I own a couple of guitars that are thousands of dollars apart, and I can tell you that the reason that the $5,000 guitar versus the $2,500 guitar, they play great, they both play wonderfully, but they play really similar. But that $5,000 guitar looks kind of cool. It's all cosmetics after a certain degree. Japanese made guitars are phenomenal. Korean-made guitars are amazing compared to what it was of growing up and that whole thing. American-made guitars doesn't mean it's good. There's plenty of builders in America who have no idea what they're doing, and there's, the great builders are the great builders for a reason. People buy Fender because they know what to expect. People buy PRS and Gibson because they know what to expect. A Mexican-made Fender Stratocaster and an American-made Fender Stratocaster, I'm hard-pressed to say, as a person who isn't a total Fender snob, you'll be able to tell the difference. They're both great guitars. Just depends on what you like and why you like it. So
interesting. So you've got this whole YouTube channel thing going on.
I do,
yeah. And on the YouTube channel, you do what?
On the YouTube channel, I talk about all things music, recording, and Minnesota. I like to keep... I kind of like to have those three things be aligned to some degree. I'm very proud to be here. I'm not like I said, I am a transplant, but this is home. I've lived here forever. At this point, it's 20 plus years of living here. I've spent the majority of my life here. I've been most musically active and most musically, air quotes, successful living in Minnesota. So this is absolutely home. So it's important to me that anything we're talking about has some kind of tie back to Minnesota.
Okay.
Whether it's just my studio or the people who are on the show or even the music that we play in the background. It's somebody that I've recorded at some point or a band that I like or something of that nature. I'll do recording snippets, recording tips and tricks. I'll do gear reviews. I'll do interviews with musicians, talk about their setup, talk about their gear. I'll do live videos with bands coming into the studio and doing live sets, playing their music literally in my studio.
Nice. And
doing videos for them, giving them the wonderful, important thing of content creation, which podcasts are great for. That whole idea, keep yourself in everybody's ear holes and eye holes. I just do a little bit of everything there. Mic shootouts. I'm endorsed by PRS guitars, so if I mentioned that like 8 times already. Yeah, it's like I like PRS guitars. I'm endorsed by them, so I use that as a little bit of a push for the brand because they push me in my music. My buddy Dave, who owns Rubin Creative, is my partner in that. He does all my video work. So if anybody needs photos or pictures or anything, Dave Rubin Creative, he's fantastic. Hit him up. So
I talked to him eons ago when I first moved here.
Yeah.
I come from when I lived overseas for a while, thanks to the U.S. military, and I got out of the military, and I was servicing producer for the country of Qatar. So like all the big projects that came to Qatar, they hired me to like help them find stuff.
Oh, sure.
Or whatever.
Sure.
When I first moved out here, I was looking for people that I could do business with. And David Rubin was one of the first people that I spoke to, but I've never met the guy in person. So
I'd be happy to connect you guys.
Maybe I need to get him on the podcast.
I'd be happy to connect you guys. Dave is a wonderful human being. I'll spare the details, but a couple of years ago, I got really sick. And I didn't really know what was wrong with me, and the doctors didn't really know what was wrong with me for a little while. And we were going through the whole, like, is it something really small? It ended up being a gallbladder removal, which in the long list of things it could have been was pretty small. But when I was actually opening my current location to the studio, Dave helped me so much. Because I could only do so much physically. He built my desk for me. He helped me run cables. He helped me put together insurance lists. He had the whole video idea of kind of keeping the studio busy during COVID and all that. He's just a great person. He's a great artist. We met just from the music scene, and we've become really, really close friends over the last, 7, 8, 9 years at this point. So wonderful guy. Can't speak highly enough about him, even though he's a personal friend. He's a very creative genius, in my opinion. So
yeah, I think he gets into like all the big shows and takes pictures of pretty much everything. So I know I've followed his work for a while. I think we may have been magically disconnected as Facebook does to people after a while. But yeah. Cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah,
he's got a pretty famous picture of Scotty Ian that Anthrax actually turned into a picture. So, so it's like it's Scotty Ian in his high leg kicks with his guitars as Dave took that photo, and that got turned into an Anthrax t-shirt and poster and the whole nine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just kind of one of those kind of neat Dave stories, I suppose.
Yeah, rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
Talk about touch and fame, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Nice. So it's funny, you talked about, Dave helped you start video stuff during COVID. So did your whole channel and idea, did that all start kind of around COVID time?
Yeah, really it did. The whole idea of YouTube for me was to just kind of be, to get content's a big thing, and whether you like it or not, or whether you hate it, or it's a reality. It's like social media, a YouTube presence, your band camps, the evil world of Spotify and streaming. It's fortunately or unfortunately, it's a necessary evil. Like coming on podcasts is fun. This kind of stuff is I can sit around and talk about things for like 45 minutes. That's cool. This is great content. What's not great content? Having to schedule posts every 3 days to keep people interested in your studio and hitting that evil algorithm on the metaverse. That's not fun. But it's necessary. And the whole video thing kind of fell into my lap just with Dave going like, we should just offer bands something. You can make a little bit of money. I can make a little bit of money too, but ultimately it's not about that. It's about giving bands something they can put on their, put on their YouTube channels, or give them a reason to get together and rehearse, or give them a reason to get together and write, whatever it may be. It's like, give people a reason not to stay shut up in their houses, safely, of course. But the whole thing with that was just to go, we'll just film video and you'll record their songs, and they can have live video and they can have live songs. They can put it on their Bandcamp page. They can put it on their own YouTube. They can stream it themselves and give it away to free for their followers, or whatever it is they want to do, to just go, hey, our band's still here. Our music is still important. Let's do something while there isn't live shows happening. And that kind of started the YouTube channel, really. It was doing all those. It gave me a lot of kind of content right out of the gate. Because if you record, 3-4 songs with a band, you need to do that 20, 30 times. That's a lot of videos.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started. And I went, well, maybe I should just do some more stuff. And I was endorsing PRS, and I'm like, oh, it'll give me an excuse to talk about their guitars or their amps or their pedals or whatever it may be. And I can kind of, slyly promote my own bands at the same time. And,
Is that kind of how the gear review thing started?
That's how that started.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm always playing my own band songs and my own band riffs, and at the end of every video it's like, go check out my band, so it's kind of quiet content for my own personal music too.
Sure.
And then it was like, oh, well, you're such a gearhead. You should have people on to start talking about like their gear setups and that kind of thing. So that took off. And then I started meeting some smaller builders, pedal builders, that kind of thing at NAMM. And they started sending me stuff to review and say, hey, let us know what you think of this and let us know what you think of this. And then it got to a point where I'm like, I have like, at the time I had like 500 followers and I'm going, well, technically I can start to monetize this, so maybe I should try. And just kind of said, well, if I pick up an extra client once a year from a video, it's worth it for what I spend on videos that year. It pays for itself at that point. So that was kind of the initial goal and the initial push. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do it, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers now.
We'll throw the little
thanks
plug right here on the bottom for you.
Hey, thanks.
And you can have all the video. You can have all the source video too if you want. If you want to kind of cut this up and make your own content out of it. So
I'll just share it. This is your world. I'll just share this one and just say thank you.
Well, we usually do a reel anyway, so you can certainly have the reel. But if you want to cut more reels, you're welcome to have it and do that. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we're all about content too. That's why we're out here. We want to help everybody. We want to promote everybody. We want to give everybody an opportunity to, at the end of every video, we typically take one of your videos and stick it on the end. So it could be one of our content videos, or it could be one of your bands, performing
appreciate it.
something. So
yeah,
we like to do that. So
it's all a big circle. It's all a big circle of going, hey, if you like this, you might like this too.
Yeah.
And it's we call it the YouTube rabbit hole. It'll take you down that hole pretty hard. It's fun.
So talk to me about some of your bands. So obviously you've been playing guitar for a long time. Let's go back there. Let's start at that early journey. Like, what got you into music?
Oh man, Stevie Ray Vaughan on the old PBS show. God, I'm like, what was it? It's not the Grand Ole Opry. It was the I'm trying to remember what the name of the show was because I was a kid, but it was a show that had bands on every Saturday night and you had music on every Saturday night, and they would and it was a PBS show, and I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan on there, and I went, I want to do that.
Wow.
I want to do that. That looks like fun.
How old were you then? Do you have an idea?
I was 9 or 10. I was young.
10? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want to play guitar. And my dad kind of looked at me and went, oh, ha, ha, ha. Because I'm a kid, right? Nobody takes that seriously. So I said, I want to play guitar. And my mom and my dad said, tell you what, it's like you can get a guitar if you stick with piano for a year. So I said, okay. So I started out on piano. I'm still a terrible piano player, by the way, but I started playing piano. I've been playing piano for about a year, exactly a year, because I knew what day I started taking lessons. And on year plus a day, I went, I want to go play guitar. So I went and bought a guitar, after I stuck with piano for a year. The funny story actually is I thought I wanted to be a drummer first. I'm also a drummer now, but I thought I wanted to be a drummer first, but my family was like, there's no way we're having a drum set in the house. No way. And because, they're like, we're not putting up with that noise. And at least you can put on headphones when you're a guitar player kind of thing. Sure. So I'm like, well, I want to play guitar. I thought I wanted to do both. And honestly, I did, because I picked up drums when I was 20 after I moved out of my family's house. So I started doing that as well. But I've been a guitar player since I was about 11 years old. And I've been playing ever since. And it was always an obsession with just loud music. It was, I loved grunge growing up. I, found my way to metal. La Crosse and Winona area had a huge punk rock scene, so I got into that. I still love blues to this day. My first rock and roll concert was B.B. King.
Really?
Still pretty proud of that.
Nice.
He was amazing, and I've just always said, look, I'm going to go see anybody who's worth their salt as a musician, and I've been able to see a lot of great bands and a lot of great artists as a result. Because that's kind of always been my rule. If it's a good musician, I want to go see him play. So it's when people go, oh, who'd you say this week? Oh, I went to go see Al Di Meola, and next month I'm going to go see Emperor. So it's just like, good music's good music.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that got me into playing, and started a little garage band with some friends of mine when I was 12, and I was always kind of the serious guy pushing things forward. And to some degree, I learned that I was maybe being a little too serious for other people around me at times. But that kept me motivated and kept me going, and I still play and I still do it.
You still the serious guy?
I think we're all a little more serious now, you know, because now at our age, it's like we have other responsibilities, you know. I don't have children, but several of my band members have children. We all have jobs. We all have bills. We all have mortgages.
Yep.
We all have responsibilities that fall outside of playing music. So if you don't want to do music at this age, you're not going to, because you don't have the free time or the luxury of choice anymore. So you have to be serious about it if you're going to keep doing it at really any age where you start to have to pay the government and the IRS, right? So, yeah. I'm like, I can ramble for eons about things. So I'll segue it and say my current bands are Plague of Stars and Caustic Abyss. Those are my 2 live bands. My other stuff is studio projects that may see the light of day on a live show one day, but yeah, Caustic Abyss and Plague of Stars are my two babies. Plague of Stars I've been in for 13 years now, and Caustic Abyss I started a couple years ago, and we're writing album number 2 now. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard of both of them, and we need to get both of them here on the podcast, do like a full band sort of thing. So
yeah, we'd love to.
I can easily get 4 people in here plus myself. So
Sure.
if that's not everybody in the band and somebody can't make it, that might be a good thing. So
Yeah, there's some people who will just kind of sit and nod in the corner anyway in any band. So it's like, nah, you can just stay home. It's fine. Let the loudmouths take over, and I'm definitely one of those, so sorry.
that's all right. That's all right. When there's a microphone in front of you, it's kind of what we need. So,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not a great story when you just sit there and don't answer anything. So.
Exactly. A lot of yeses and no answers.
So how did you get from Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Yeah.
So very, very early blues inspiration.
Yeah.
When did you start hearing grunge? Like what's the song, or where were you that kind of helped you make that transition? Not even a transition, right? You weren't stopping with the blues.
Yeah.
You just started adding. So when did you get to that stage you were adding on?
Oh, I remember, because I would start with rock and roll, you know, and blues, because my uncle would play a lot of that stuff for me. My dad and my uncle Andy took me to see B.B. King, from, you know, being inspired by wanting to play music with Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then we just have our rock and roll radio station at home.
So you were pretty young when you saw B.B. King.
I was. Yeah, wow. I want to say I was 12 or 13.
Wow, that's because I think most people that would want to see B.B. King probably never have, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I was able to see him twice, so I was pretty lucky because he. You know, he died while I was, you know, in my 20s. So
yeah,
it didn't get. So buy the concert ticket, kids. They're only going to be around for a while. You know, I always see, every time I see Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, I'm like, well, this might be the last time I see these guys. You know, so buy the concert tickets.
Rob Halford keeps going.
Oh,
man.
dude, and they both still sound amazing. They put people half their age to shame. It's amazing. But yeah, Rob still sounds great. Bruce still sounds great. But yeah, so we made this. So I just had the rock and roll radio station, and they would play a little bit of everything. And, you know, I was lucky that I grew up in a time where radio actually took chances on bands, because, you know, now radio to me is kind of a bland medium when you're talking about traditional radio, in my not so humble opinion these days. Because, you know, they don't really take any chances. They just go, we're going to play the hits. We're going to play the same 9 to 12 bands over and over again, and from those 9 to 12 bands, we're going to play the same 3 songs over and over again. You know, I always joke that if I turn on the radio, it's like my chances of hearing Metallica are pretty high, you know, and I love Metallica, but they have more than 3 songs, but yet they only play 3 songs on the radio. And those 3 songs are Enter Sandman, Master of Puppets, and whatever their latest single is. Beyond that, they'll never play anything else. And you know, so if anybody turns on 93X or something later and Metallica pops on, have a little laugh to yourself. But it's what happens. But at that time, they would play a little bit of everything. You know, they would take chances on a new band. They would go, oh, here's some new music from, you know, Candlebox or whatever. You know, Candlebox, great Minnesota band.
Are they really?
Yeah, they are. They're
I
awesome.
never knew that.
Yeah, they're awesome. But they'll play anything. They'll play the Metallicas. They'll play, you know, the safe stuff, and then they'll play some other stuff. And at that time, there was a later night radio show that they would start playing metal. So I got into, so it's like, yep, I got into Nirvana. So then, of course, I got into Pearl Jam, and I, of course, got into Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and all those bands. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's musical, but it's heavy, And then people would go, oh, you should listen to the show on at like 10:30 or whatever, and they're playing the metal stuff. And then you go, okay, now I'm getting into the Megadeths, the Sepulturas, the Slayers, those kind of bands, and going like, oh, this is evil. It appeals to my, I've been sent to a Christian school and I need to rebel against everything mindset of the time, and so, yeah, of course, now I'm just going like, now I'm chasing the high of what's the next heaviest thing. And then I started hanging out with oddly enough, my drummer, Aaron from Plague of Stars. I've known him since I was literally 13 years old. And I grew up with him. He was the best man in my wedding. It's like I saw him the day his kids were born. Now his kids are like 18 and 17 years old. And I'm just like, I'm old, but, he would show me stuff and he goes, oh, you like this band? Check this out. Oh, you like Carcass? Check out Morbid Angel. Oh, you like Morbid Angel? Oh, check out, Deicide or whatever. And it just becomes this circle of like, you find the next band, you find the next band, you find the next band. And then at some point you go, all right, well, I'm going to take a break from that. And then you find something else and you go, oh, now I found Neurosis. So now I'm going down like the doom metal stoner rock world. So, oh, well, I also like High on Fire. I also like Sleep. I like Mastodon. I like, bands like that. And then you get into like the noisy, crazy stuff where it's like, I like the band Today Is the Day, if you've ever heard of them. They're amazing. They're so noisy and gross and they're fantastic. They're fantastic. Kiss the Pig is such a great album. And then you go like, okay, well, I'm going to listen to something, that's kind of melodic and still death metal. Well, now I really like Opeth, and now I'm going down the progressive world where I'm going to go check out King Crimson, and I'm going to check out Carnival, and I'm going to check out like, Steven Wilson and bands and artists like that. And you just, at some point, you just have this music collection that just takes over your entire office on every single wall, and people go, you listen to Paramore? And I'm like, hell yeah, I listen to Paramore.
Paramore's great.
Yeah, and then they're all confused because they're just like, I thought you were Mr. Satanic Death Metal and his horde of Nordic warriors, and you like Paramore? I'm like, yeah, shit, that shit's catchy. So it's just kind of funny how that works. So it's, I guess, to answer the question in a long-winded way, you find one band, you find the next band, and you keep going. And that was my whole thing. And I learned how to play guitar to all that grunge music. And I just went, well, I'm going to learn how to play metal because that seemed like a challenging exercise. So I learned how to play guitar to a lot of Slayer and Megadeth songs. That made my right hand nice and fast. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's funny. I actually had to think back to what the question was.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a good journey, man.
Yeah. I'm terrible at this. You can let me ramble for years.
No, it was fantastic. But we just got so far into it. I forgot to. Yeah. What exactly was the question? I don't remember. So.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Tell me a funny, crazy story about something in the music world that you've been a part of or seen or not wanted to be a part of. But...
Okay. The only thing that comes to mind that's actually kind of wholesome. Because I can, in the music world, and I mean this in all sincerity, I've seen the good, the bad, and ugly of all things because of music. I've met my best friends. I've had the best experiences of my life because of music, and I've had some of the most horrible experiences of my life because of music, and all of them have shaped who I am and who I've become, so I don't regret any of it. But I'll pick a wholesome one because I find it to be quite fun, and it's a story I tell my clients a lot. So I used to play in this band called We Are Legion, and we were a death metal band, and we may or may not be doing a reunion show at the end of the year. May or may not be. But
you heard hint, it or didn't hear it here first.
Hint, not hint. And it's for a special reason, but I'll leave it at that. But we were playing a show fairly early in our career as a band. I think it was maybe our second or third road trip. And we were going to go play the Rave in Milwaukee. The Rave in Milwaukee is an awesome venue. Has 4 stages in that building. so they can have multiple concerts going on at the same time. And Milwaukee was a destination just like Minneapolis was for me to go see bands when I was growing up. So I kind of grew up in that building too. So when my own band got an opportunity to play there, I was like, hell yeah, let's go play. So we drive from Minneapolis to Milwaukee, and we're playing this black metal fest. And we are not a black metal band, but I love black metal. And I'm going, whatever, we're playing the rave. Who cares? We're going to go. We're going to get paid. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be a good time. So we go, and we realize that we see a bunch of people lined up, and they have their face paint on. For folks who don't know, black metal's big on the face paint and that whole vibe. And we see that, and we're like, oh man, these black metal people in Milwaukee really take their music pretty seriously. And then by the time we start to roll around the corner with this line of people lined up, we go, that's not black metal face paint. And it's like the clouds parted at that moment, and we saw the Insane Clown Posse bus. So the ICP bus. And we're like going, oh, Insane Clown Posse must be playing upstairs, in the big room, in the big venue there. Well, us, shenanigans and heathens are taking place downstairs in the little room. ICP must be playing in the big room upstairs. And it's kind of went, okay, cool. So we get there. There's a lineup of Juggalo folks and everything, like ready to go see ICP already at this point. And at the rave, all of the backstages are all connected. So the backstages of the rave for the big room is also connected to the backstage of the rave in the small room. It's just a bunch of stairwells in different rooms. And we were hungry. We're on the road, and we're just kind of exploring because we're bored. We don't play for a few hours. We can't go anywhere. Our van's parked. For those of you who don't know, the rave is not in the best neighborhood in Milwaukee. So you can't just, go walk around and go do your thing because, you might literally get stabbed. You never know. So we're just like, well, we're hanging at the venue. So we're hanging out. We got some hours to kill and that kind of thing. And we just start roaming around backstage trying to find where our room or our bands or our show is supposed to hang out so we can maybe lay on a couch and be lazy for an hour or two or something. So we open up this door. It's like a movie. Smoke comes billowing out, and we see a bunch of Faygo on the table. So Faygo, the soda drink that is made by ICP. For folks who don't know that, it's Faygo is the drink on the shelves is actually made by ICP, and it's owned by them. Really? So if you go to the grocery store and buy Faygo, you're directly supporting ICP because that's their thing. Like they have their fans like shake Faygo at each other and things like that at shows. It's like they're like the Guar of that industry. It's just a messy show. But if you have not seen them, it's an experience if you have not seen them.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. Their fans are devoted. Their fans are absolutely devoted to that band and that music. So we get there. And we open up the door, and I'm like, oh, this has got to be ICP's room. There's Faygo. There's a bunch of people in here. There's food, the whole nine. It's like, nobody's feeding us. We're a black metal show. We're not getting free food. We're not getting catering. It's like, and then my drummer, Chris, looks at it, and he goes, food. And he just sees a sandwich, and he just goes in there, and I'm like, well, we're just going to ask for forgiveness if something bad happens, because we're already here, and he's already got a sandwich in his mouth. So I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to sit here and try and act like it didn't happen. So I'm like, well, screw it. He's already doing it. We're already in this. So I'm going to grab myself a sandwich too. So I do that. A guy walks up to us who's obviously with the ICP crew, and he just goes like, oh, are you guys like the opening band on the show tonight or something or what? And it's like, no, we're playing downstairs, man. We're just on the road right now. And my drummer saw food and just said, screw it, I'm eating. He goes, dude, and I'm not even kidding. He's just super nice. And he goes, we have so much food. Don't even worry about it. Eat whatever you want. Have a bunch of Faygo, have some beer, have some shots, whatever you're into, just go ahead. And we're like, all right, cool. And so we hang out and we're just, shooting the shit with these guys and hanging out. And I'm like going, is ICP going to be mad at us for like eating their food or anything? And he goes like, I don't think ICP is going to be very mad at you. And I'm like, oh, you like the tour manager or something? He goes, no, man, I'm Violent J. I'm the guy in the band. So it's like literally the dude who I think is going to yell at us is like one of the members of ICP. And we just like sat there and talked for 20 minutes about how much we all loved metal. So it's like the ICP guys are super into metal. They had Cannibal Corpse on their festival a couple of years ago and all that. So it's like, yeah. So that's a crazy story, and it was a little bit of a brush with fame, but it was also kind of a brush with the camaraderie of music, even though our bands were so different and our success level was drastically different.
Sure.
Just how inviting they were and how friendly they were.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and if I ever run into them again at any point, I'm going to tell that story and see if they remember me, because that was decades ago at this point. Yeah, that was So here, there's a fun story.
That is a great story, man. Thanks for sharing that. So it sounds like a couple people have heard it now. Hope maybe a couple more will.
Couple more.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So
man.
if you don't like ICP, it's completely okay to not like their music, but do not call them bad people, because they are wonderful people.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So I like to wrap this up, and then we're about the point to wrap it up. I like to wrap it up by saying, hey, man, who should I have next on this show? Who do you recommend to be my next? And it doesn't have to be limited to one person. Sure. A couple of people, a couple of ideas. So
sure. Well, there's so many great people in the music world. So, I really hate to single anybody out. But as far as like great people, there's a ton of great people in the creative world here. I would say that Adam Tucker would be a wonderful guy to have on if you want to continue the wonderful world of studio talk.
Yeah.
Adam owns Signature Tone Recording Studios.
Okay.
He is a wonderful person. People assume we are competitors because we're both recording metal music. We are not. We are very close friends. We work together regularly on projects. Adam Tucker is a wonderful person. He could tell you lots of stories about music too.
Cool.
Good old Dave Rubin from Rubin Creative would be an excellent guest, and about a laundry list of 400 musicians. So I'll just pick the first person that I know, just because he was my closest friend when I moved to Minneapolis. So he's gonna get the takeaway here as far as somebody I didn't know when I moved here, and that person is Rob Carlson. Rob Carlson is
second person who's recommended him as well.
Rob's an old dog in the music scene. He's a wonderful person. He owns the Shred Den guitar store.
Yep.
He runs Glutton for Punishment. He's been in a ton of bands. And Rob did keep the lights on at the studio for the first couple of years. He was really the first person to really believe in 1459. And with his own bands and his own label and everything that he had, he for the first couple of years, he was the guy who kept the lights on for me, and I'll always appreciate that. And Glutton for Punishment's coming back to record next month. March or May. It's March now. So May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to March already.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, May. So I'm like, it's one of the M months. Yeah, it's May. But anyway. So thank you for
really
having
cool,
me on.
man.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
this
I'm
is
just a
awesome,
rambler. This is what I do.
Not at all, man. It's great. It's great to have some stories to tell.
Yeah, appreciate it, my
Definitely
friend.
Had a few. So, hey there, Minnesota music family. If I haven't personally reached out to you yet, consider this your 100% official invitation to join me on the Minnesota Music Note. I'm Will McLeod, co-founder of the podcast crew here in beautiful Robbinsdale, host of the show, and the guy behind the kit for the band Hits and the Misses. I started this podcast because I want to get to know the people who make our scene tick. Whether you're fronting a band, spinning hip-hop, running sound, booking shows, running shows, or teaching the next generation of talent, your story belongs here. We've had everyone from videographers to festival organizers on the mic, and we're just getting started. It doesn't matter if you're playing arenas or just making magic in your basement. If you're part of the Minnesota music community, I want to chat. Slide into my DMs or hit the email below, and let's hang out and talk shop.